Kenny has just announced a season of films for their book club. It's the Luke Film Club. Sorry, did I say book club? It's the film club. It's the Luke Film Club. And it's a season of world films and cultural screenings. There's everything from an Oscar nominated Irish film to, or Irish language film, I should say, to big dramas based on true events. So the acting director at the RCC, Jeremy Howard, joins us online. We're streaming as well. Going to have a look in. Jeremy, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me on, John.
Let's talk about the film club and the difference between, say, films that you're going to be showing in the film club and films that will be shown in the local cinema. You seek out films that are a bit different, foreign language and...
Yeah, more, I suppose, slightly niche, more cultural films, but I think that we don't tend to overlap much. Some of the Irish language films, Callan Kuhn is playing at the end of April. I saw that in Century Cinemas last year, absolutely loved it, so I wanted to bring it back. But everything else tends to be a little bit more niche. Films from all around the world, really. And it's great. I was reading about all the films in preparation for coming on this morning because I didn't actually pick them this time.
Oh.
I let the club pick the films themselves. So every
there
few
is
months,
actually a club.
yeah, it's free. Anyone who wants to come in, we charge for the screenings, but anyone who wants to come in and actually suggest films, they're more than welcome. I don't want to have complete control over that, so I like to get as many people involved as possible.
Okay.
We're sent a list of new films every couple of months, and everyone goes through them and picks out what they think will be great. Everyone has a different opinion, but we try to pick about 6 or 7 of them and just go for it.
And people hear about film club and think, oh, it's going to be all foreign language and it's going to be subtitles. And you know what? The very same people could go home and sit down in front of Netflix and watch something like a Danish noir thriller or something that's, it's really good and they get stuck into it, and yet it'll have subtitles.
Yeah, and it's about half and half. There is a lot of smaller independent American and English and Irish films that are in English, and about half of them are subtitled. I think this time there's a real mix. There's the first one is Tar, starts March the 9th.
Which has been Oscar nominated.
Kate Blanchett has been Oscar nominated. She's absolutely brilliant in it. I've actually seen this one, and that's in English. So, it is a good mix. After that, there's a documentary that's in English.
You could just go back to Tar for a second, just give us a very brief synopsis.
Okay, so Kate Blanchett plays a fictional composer and conductor, and let's just say her past behaviour catches up with her, and she's... I suppose she's cancelled.
She's out, okay, and she goes out of control. Right,
yeah.
Fair enough. That's Tar, yeah. So that's the first one.
That's the first one. That's on March the 9th. So it's after that, then it's every second Thursday night. Following that, then we have a documentary called All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, it's about an artist called Nan Golding, and Nan was addicted to opiates for many years, and that's the opiate crisis in America is huge at the minute. I think there's over 500,000 people have died in the last 20 years.
Watch Dope Sick.
I have a note down here to watch Dope Sick. I've watched it and it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Nan is the person you see in Dope Sick that's protesting, in the Sackler sponsored galleries. So this is her documentary. Half of it is about her art and half of it is about her protesting against this, this opiate crisis.
Because a lot of these galleries, these high-end galleries, got their funding from the Sackler in the United States. Got their funding from the Sackler family. I think it was mostly the United States. Did they fund?
I think maybe some of the major British galleries as well. But we were still waiting at the RCC for any funding from them,
which of course you wouldn't accept, but nonetheless.
Or the Qataris or any state-owned people. Just you know where I am.
Make an offer. Make an offer. So anyhow, so this is about she wants to shine a light on that.
She does, and she's come through the other side of that addiction, so she really wants to make it more well known that this is so prevalent, not just in America, and it's growing every year. The numbers are growing.
I actually was chatting to someone without naming any names. I was chatting to someone whose mum was prescribed opiates. And I was thinking, well, with everything now that's happened and with everything that we know, this still goes on. And it's happening here, which beggars belief, because they're so easy to get hooked on.
It is, and I mean, if you go in to the doctors with a migraine, you could get opiates, and they're completely fine as long as you only take them for a few days. But of course, if the pain's still there after a few days, the temptation is to take them longer, and it is that easy to become addicted.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to April, then there's a Polish road movie about the life of a donkey.
Yeah, this one, I haven't seen this one yet. I'm looking forward to it. So it's a
The
circus.
trailer looks good.
Yeah, it's a circus donkey who escapes the circus, and he goes on a journey and meets a lot of different people. I think it said he meets a young Italian priest, a Polish football team, a countess, and it slowly becomes more about all the people he meets rather than the donkey.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's related to the donkey in Banshees of Inisherin, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
Donkeys are popular.
Yeah, well, they are now. Yeah. And then also in April there is another film that's been Oscar nominated, submitted for consideration.
Yeah, so I think this was Pakistan's submission. It's a modern love story, and it's funny and sad in equal measures, and has a lot of kind of LGBT themes. I haven't seen it yet, but it's got great reviews, so I can't wait to see it.
Okay. And then, as you mentioned at the start, in Colin Kewan, and on we go into that's at the end of April.
Yeah, I think everyone's heard of Callan Kewan by now. This is actually part of a festival we have at the end of April, a soundtrack festival. So we're going to have 4 nights of live music along with films, and then a couple of screenings and workshops. That's all announced next week, but I'm very excited for that.
What is a film because I've never been to one at the RCC. What's the film experience like there? Is there like popcorn and drinks available and stuff?
So there's no drinks available. People are welcome to bring in their own sweets or drinks, but I do try to make popcorn for everyone.
Okay.
It doesn't always work when there's huge crowds, but we try.
Very good.
And I'll usually get, maybe tea and coffee as well.
It's more of a bespoke.
Yeah, people like to stand around and actually talk about the film afterwards, and I love that. Sometimes I come out of these films, I'm not entirely sure what it was about, so it's nice then to have a few people to explain it to me.
Okay. And how many does the theatre hold?
150.
Right, that's sizable, yeah. Okay, and then there's more films into May as well. There's a couple in May.
That's right. It goes right up until June, and then we'll probably take a little break for the summer and start again in September.
Brilliant. All right, and info online at
it's all regionalculturalcentre.com.
Now that you're here, I want to chat about a couple of other things. First of all, there is a string trio that's coming next month, and this looks very interesting because there's a Grammy-nominated violinist amongst them. Yeah,
it's next month. I only realised today it's actually Mother's Day, so it's 4 p.m. on Sunday the 19th, so it'd be a very good Mother's Day gift. You go out for a concert, it's about an hour long, and then out for dinner maybe. So it's led by a Ukrainian violinist, and look, they're 3 world-class musicians. They're playing a mixture of Mozart and Beethoven, so it's quite accessible. And I think it would just make for a really nice afternoon.
Okay. So that's and then I actually went a wee bit further. I went in and listened to some of the stuff that they've done, and I was looking down through the resume where they played and who they played with, and it does look fantastic. And that the fact that they're playing local is great. Okay, and speaking of music of a different sort, mind you, and it's an unusual project. It's called the Dream Baby Dream Project.
Yes, this started during one of the lockdowns. I was working with, I suppose, a producer stroke broadcaster called Leagues O'Toole, who used to present a TV show on RTE called No Disco. Yep. And that's when I was younger, that's where I discovered a lot of my musical taste. So Leagues was out of work during lockdown because there was no gigs, so we decided we'd work together and we'd commission some filmmakers to work with musicians and have interesting collaborations. So those 3 films are finished now. They're going to premiere at the RCC, and we've invited all the musicians that worked on those projects to come and do concerts. So that's Friday the 3rd and Saturday the 4th of March. It's a mix of contemporary folk and electronic and kind of alternative rock. Okay. But yeah, no, it should be really, really nice concerts. Limoncello are the first night, and One of them, Claire, is from Letterkenny. We've had them before for Tradweek a few years ago and sold out pretty much instantly. And I do think they're probably the best current Irish contemporary folk act. They've an album coming out this year that I've heard a early version of it, and it's probably one of the best Irish albums I've heard in a few years. So I'm really excited for that.
Keep an eye out for that, okay. And then on the Saturday night?
Saturday night is
the
we have the films at...
Well, that's the afternoon, is it?
Films in the afternoon, and then in the evening we have another concert. So it's a lady called Katie Kim with a band and Elaine Howley. Mix of electronica and rock and slightly more weirder stuff, but look it up. It is really good, and I've never had them here. I've seen them down the country at different bigger gigs, so it's delighted to have the opportunity to bring them to Donegal.
Okay. So very interesting contemporary musicians and artists, including upcoming filmmakers, and it's important that they have a platform. So that is the next weekend in Dream Baby Dream at RCC next Friday and Saturday. Let's play out the wee piece with a bit from Lemoncello. This is a Mantelpiece. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you, John.